This is the Unit 4C test. Question number 1. The Code of Hammurabi, 1772 BC, includes laws focusing on contracts or agreements between two parties. What type of U.S. law is based on those laws found in the Code of Hammurabi? A. Constitutional, B. Military, C. Civil, D. Criminal. Question number 2. Read the following to answer the question. In Korematsu v. USA, 1944, the Supreme Court ruled that individuals may lose their freedom and be forcibly interned in times of war or national crisis. If a minority group was forcibly interned in 2016, what is the source of law that would allow the federal government to take such action? A. Case, B. Common, C. Constitutional, D. Statutory. Directions. Refer to the scenario below to answer questions number 3 and number 4. Mrs. Smith was grocery shopping at the neighborhood grocery store when she slipped and fell in aisle 2 because of spilled juice on the floor. After returning from the hospital with a broken arm, she took the grocery store to court, insisting that they are responsible for paying for hospital bills. Number 3. Which type of law best applies to the scenario above? A. Civil, B. Statutory, C. Constitutional, D. Criminal. Question number 4 also refers to this scenario. I will read it again. Mrs. Smith was grocery shopping at the neighborhood grocery store when she slipped and fell in aisle 2 because of spilled juice on the floor. After returning from the hospital with a broken arm, she took the grocery store to court, insisting that they are responsible for paying for hospital bills. Number 4. Which source of law best applies to this scenario? A. Constitutional, B. Common, C. Statutory, D. Case. Question number 5. What source of law is described below? The United States Congress makes laws about labeling food with nutritional information such as calories per serving, fat grams, and sodium. A. Case, B. Common, C. Constitutional, D. Statutory. Question number 6. What right found in the U.S. Constitution does this quote from the Magna Carta best relate to? To no one will we deny or delay right or justice. A. No quartering of soldiers. B. Freedom of religion. C. Due process. D. Right to bear arms. Question number 7. Beginning with the lowest court in Florida, which of the following is in the correct order? A. Circuit Court, County Court, State Supreme Court. B. County Court, Circuit Court, State Supreme Court. C. State Supreme Court, County Court, Circuit Court. D. County Court, State Supreme Court, Circuit Court. Question number 8. What court can hear appeals from both the U.S. Court of Appeals and a state Supreme Court? A. U.S. District Court. B. District Court of Appeals. C. Florida Supreme Court. D. U.S. Supreme Court. Question number 9. Which court below best relates to the following headline? Florida jury finds George Zimmerman not guilty of second-degree murder in Stand Your Ground case. A. Florida Supreme Court. B. Florida Circuit Court. C. County Court. D. U.S. Supreme Court. Number 10. What do a trial court and an appellate court have in common? A. Both deal with the law. B. Both have a jury. C. Both hear cases for the first time. D. Both have a panel of judges. Question number 11. What gives state courts the jurisdiction or the authority to make decisions about state laws? A. County charters. B. U.S. Constitution. C. State constitutions. D. Citizens. Question number 12. The table below classifies different types of courts. In the first column, it says process. The second column, state. The third column, federal. Underneath process, it says trial court. To the right under state, it says Florida County Court, Florida Circuit Court. To the right of that, under federal, there's a question mark. Again, under process, it says appellate court. To the right of that, below state, it says Florida Circuit Court, Florida District Court of Appeal, Florida Supreme Court. To the right of that, under federal, it says U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, U.S. Supreme Court. The question for number 12 is, which court completes the table? A. Florida District Court. B. U.S. District Court of Appeal. C. U.S. District Court. D. U.S. Criminal Court. Question number 13. Juliet has been accused of stealing an expensive leather purse from a local department store. A video from the crime scene shows someone who looks like Juliet stealing the purse. Juliet claims she is not the person in the video. If Juliet is tried in court for theft, who decides if she has stolen the purse? A. The prosecutor. B. The Court of Appeals. C. The trial judge. D. The jury. Question number 14. What role does a jury play in a criminal case? A. It determines the facts based on evidence presented in court. B. It determines which evidence should be allowable at trial. C. It decides which law should be applied to the case. D. It reviews the case when it is heard on appeal. Question number 15. Directions. Refer to the diagram below about the trial process to answer question number 15. Step 1, opening statements. Step 2, presentation of evidence. Step 3, closing statements. Step 4, question mark. Step 5, verdict. Question number 15. Which of the following choices best completes step 4? A. Cross-examination. B. Summary judgment. C. Jury deliberation. D. Questioning witnesses. Question number 16. What was the significance of the Supreme Court case Marbury v. Madison? A. Its decision granted the Supreme Court the power to choose its cases. B. its decision legalized segregation in public spaces. C, its decision declared that separate but equal is unconstitutional. D, its decision allowed the Supreme Court to decide if acts are constitutional. Question number 17. What constitutional right do the Supreme Court cases of Gideon v. Wainwright, Miranda v. Arizona, and In Regalt all have in common? A, the right to eminent domain. B, the right to a speedy trial. C, the right to not testify against oneself. D, the right to have equal protection under the law. Question number 18. Why is the Supreme Court case Tinker v. Des Moines Independent Community School District 1968 considered to be important? A, because it protected students' freedom of speech in school. B, because it protected students' freedom of press in school. C, because it limited students' freedom of speech in school. Or D, because it limited students' freedom of press in school. Question number 19. In a landmark case, the Supreme Court ruled that separate but equal did not violate the Constitution. Which later case would overturn this ruling and why? A, Brown v. Board of Education, because it set precedent that segregation is unconstitutional. B, Plessy v. Ferguson, because it set precedent that segregation is unconstitutional. C, Brown v. Board of Education, because it set precedent that self-expression is unconstitutional. D, Plessy v. Ferguson, because it set precedent that self-expression is unconstitutional. Question number 20. What was the impact of the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Miranda v. Arizona, 1966? A, poor defendants accused of serious crimes had to be provided with state-sponsored public defender or lawyer. B, Southern states could no longer have racially segregated public schools. C, states could no longer have racial quotas as part of their affirmative action programs. D, suspects had to be told of their right to have an attorney present or to remain silent during police interrogation.